Hey everybody, welcome back to the Fin Factor. I'm Paul.
I'm Aaron.
This is episode number 238. Right before we get going here, I want to ask you guys to do us a favor. I tend to do this at the beginning of the show. Please, if you can, share us out there to all your Sharks friends and family. The more people we have in the chat, the more fun it is. There's the bell. Thank you so much for that. And yes, of course, if you are here, obviously, you must have hit the subscribe button. But if you're showing up a little bit late, it's because you didn't get the notification. Hit the button. You'll know when we're going live next time, and you won't be late. Aaron, we had 3 games this week.
3, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know if all of them we would call games. Some of them were closer than others.
They showed up to 3 games. I'll say that.
They were there.
Participated in 3 games.
They got the ribbon at the end. I love it.
Yes.
Extremely disappointing. Downright embarrassing.
That sums it up pretty well for the week. I mean, honestly, there's a couple good efforts here. We'll go ahead and
I have a feeling the Sharks are not going to be posting post-game interviews anymore because we keep clipping this stuff out and using it on our show over and over and over. They're like, nah, we're done.
It's more exposure.
Those Fin Factor guys, they're making us.
I mean, just absolutely freaking embarrassing.
You're not helping us. Okay, so Sharks Montreal, a 4-3 loss. Of note here, a couple things. One, Colin Graff, who's quickly becoming one of my favorite of the young prospects. I know he got moved back down to the Barracuda, but he's been, I know, for the Four Nations face-off, they're having a break anyway.
Could. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but he's becoming one of my more favorite prospects right now. Obviously, Macklin. I don't even view Macklin as a prospect. The kid's already a veteran at 18 years old. Okay, so but Colin Graff doing a fantastic job so far with the time that he's been given. Very happy seeing him, and he gets his first goal here. Now the funny thing with this one was that, oh, by the way, member Brightcar says, hey guys, hey member Brightcar, how are you doing, buddy? But yes, his dad flew in and told him, if I'm going to fly all this way, then you better score a goal.
Did he tell him that?
That's what he told him. So his dad tells him, if I'm going to fly all the way out there, you better score a goal. A couple things. One, how dare you, sir? Okay, it's your child. You need to be supportive of him regardless. Okay, and number 2, do that again. Do it. Keep
come
doing
to
it.
every game
Because it seems to be working. You gotta come to every game and challenge him to score in every game because it seems to be working. Okay.
That was a beauty goal.
It was. What a snipe.
Yeah.
He loaded back and rocket this thing. I mean, it looked like he was trying to see if he could make a pass across, and decided right away, no, that ain't happening. I think it was right about the top of the circle, maybe the dot.
Yeah.
And he fired this
he
one
was
right
skating
over
on the left side and fired it far right. I was watching it live and I jumped off my couch. Like, oh, that was such a good goal. And then watched the replay in slow-mo, and it's even better in slow-mo. You can just see it go right into that corner.
Whoa, CJ, checking in from Rome, he says, in Paul's native land. Yes, I am Italian. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
We are Italian.
Yeah, I mean, you're half, aren't you?
Wow.
Yes.
Can you do that?
Let's see.
Spaghetti's gonna fall.
It's
right
not
in the
pizza.
middle.
It's spaghetti. He wants you to make it rain meatballs. There you go. That's a movie. Anyway, yeah. So he does. He gets the snipe. Fantastic goal from Colin Graff in this game here. Celebrini, the other thing here, picks up 2 points. One of which was a beautiful goal on the power play. All 5 players touched the puck. Okay, so there's the primary assist, the secondary assist, the tertiary assist, and the quaternary? Is that what it? Quaternary assist?
Zamboni assist.
The Zamboni assist.
Their assists.
Apart from the goaltender, literally everybody touched the puck on this one. And it was, honestly, for me, Eklund's rocket one-timer from a knee to hit Toffoli.
I love when he does that.
Oh, my God.
The knee one-timer.
Yeah. And Toffoli, like, you could tell when he received this pass, it was like he had to gather it. It's like, oh, I didn't realize it was coming that quick. Like, he had to gather it. And I think that might have actually kind of fooled him a little bit more because Toffoli held on to the puck for just a bit, and then everybody shifted, right? And then, of course, it goes back to Macklin, and Macklin just puts this thing top shelf.
This is a goal. I feel like they pass so much in the power play trying to get a goal just like this, and it never works. But every once in a while, a broken clock is right twice a day. This thing was a thing of like beauty, just a great goal. We should have ended the game right here because that put him up, I believe, right? It was a very
I think it was the 1-0 goal, wasn't it?
That was the first goal. Yeah. It should have been game over. That's almost 6 minutes into the game.
Canadians, just give up right there, please.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
That was not the case, unfortunately. But as I said, he gets it was a 2-point night for him, right? So the second was the sauce through the neutral zone. I'm sure you saw that one too. This one was he barely gets into the neutral zone, lifts this puck across the red line, across the blue line, right to the tape of a streaking Tyler Toffoli. who's just slashing from the outside, beats a couple defenders. Just the pass, I'm saying, beats a couple defenders. And Toffoli walks in, does a little onesie-twosie move, and goes top shelf on the backhand, I believe. And yeah, it was just another beautiful goal. A great play by Macklin, finding him there. And just the way that he put that sauce on there, again, it's not a rocket pass. It was just a nice little loft the puck up, lob it over, and right to the tape. Just beautiful stuff.
It's great. Toffoli, man. This is why he came to the team, right? To get passes like that from one of the best young players in the league. So and it was a beautiful goal. I'm not taking anything away from him.
Yeah.
The pass was great, but the goal, the finish was amazing. And that's what Toffoli brings to this team.
So the Sharks end up losing this game, unfortunately, in regulation by a score of 4-3.
On a shorthanded goal against at the end. It's pretty brutal. You know, I was looking at this game. There was only 2 5-on-5 goals in this game, 2 even strength goals. The rest were either power play goals or shorthanded goals. And Lane Hudson, defense play, we'll get to him later, but one assist in this game, so he does get a point to put himself further in the lead in the standings of the Calder race, but we'll get to that later.
He got 1 assist in this game.
In this game, yes.
Celebrini outpaced him in this game. So when they went head-to-head...
Yes, 2-1.
Our boy came ahead. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Anyway. And it was a secondary assist, which is not as good, obviously.
Not nearly as good.
Got beat off walls.
Moving on, Sharks against the Vancouver Canucks. This one was a heartbreaker. Worse, I think, than the next game we're going to talk about because the Sharks were right there. The Sharks were in it, and the way that it ended was just... a travesty. So the first goal against here comes from the unfortunate mishandled clear by Henry Thrun. This one, he had the puck on his stick, and it looked like he was about to dump it, and the puck just kind of barely just gets away from him, and just a slide in front of him, and all he did was kind of jab at it, and the puck got out of the zone, but he didn't really get to dump it and clear it. And I truly believe if he got all of it on that puck, we would have had some changes. We would have had the guys coming back out fresh, and I don't think this goal goes in.
I feel like this has been happening a lot all season, not just this game, but that's kind of their MO of taking that extra split-second time that they do have to make sure you do clear that puck and get it out.
Yeah.
I feel like the Sharks, what they should do, if you have to, ice it.
Yeah.
Who cares? Get the break, reset, get ready to go, even if you're dead tired, right? Your legs are done.
Yeah.
That's what, a 20-second break between that. By the time that they get down to get the puck and bring it back and get the face-off set, that's a 20-second break. Better than nothing.
Absolutely.
Right? I need to ice the puck and just get it out of there.
And it's not even like that it's nothing. It's that you're still actively pursuing the defensive play. So you don't even get like just a split second at all. It's just you're constantly going. So yeah, I agree with you. Just dumping the puck and icing it is certainly better than getting scored on, which is in this case what really happened. So unfortunate for Henry Thrun there. We still like the guy though. He's good. Yeah.
Good dude.
He's a good dude. Yeah, and we'll get to that maybe later on. But going farther in this one here, Toffoli gets the lone goal from Eklund with 1:28 left in the third. So Eklund finds Toffoli in front of the net, and Toffoli, I mean, he had 7 shots in this game. Yeah. All right, that's a fair amount of shots for one player.
Yep.
And on this sequence alone, he goes for 3 shots. He takes a shot at Demko, makes a save. Grabs the puck, takes another shot. Demko, sprawling, makes a save. Finally gets the rebound again, and he's basically standing almost behind the goal line, I think, and he roofs this thing, and Demko's down and out there. The Vancouver defender was basically standing in the net, hoping to block this. No. So it took 3 shots in that sequence, and he finally put the puck in the net. This guy, I feel like, Toffoli has been taking shot after shot after shot, and you can see it in some of these games where I cannot believe the puck has not gone in. Mm-hmm. And he's scored a couple goals, but man, I feel like there's a bunch of times where he's been just gotten stoned.
I was going to say in that game alone, Demko had a couple saves that were robbing saves, but then there was one that was the defenseman blocking it, I believe, a shot, and I think it was Toffoli, if I remember correctly, who should have scored a goal, and the defenseman was on his knees and made a goalie save because Demko was out of position. So it was like, oh my God, I feel like it was a game that the Sharks couldn't buy a goal. Like they were actually playing well and doing everything they could to score goals and just hit a good team that knows how to play defense and cover for their goalies when their goalie's out of position and stuff like that. So Sharks still a long ways to go, but I thought they played well in this game. It's unfortunate that they lost the way that they lost.
It really is, and rehashing, unfortunately, the way that they lost. Okay, so the game goes to overtime, and it's striking towards the Sharks, and then they get a break going the other direction, and a shot and a rebound comes out, and Vancouver picks it up, and they take off the other direction again. And it's essentially a 2-on-1 with Celebrini back-checking hard, like right on the heels of the 2, right? The pass goes across. He gets a stick on the hands, and they call a penalty, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But they call a penalty shot. Now, a penalty shot is when the guy has a clear breakaway and you haul him down or you slash or you hook or whatever else, right? I didn't see this guy having a clear breakaway. It was a 2-on-1 with hard back-checking pressure. The pass goes across to the guy. Yes, he's beyond the defender, but Celebrini's right on him. I don't see that as a breakaway. So I'm 100% okay with it being a penalty, but it should have just been that, a penalty. Celebrini in the box, 4-on-3 overtime, let the boys play. If the Sharks lose there, hey, whatever. But the way that this went down, them calling that a penalty shot, that just rubbed me there, and a lot of Sharks fans, obviously, the wrong way. And I think that I can separate the fandom from watching and saying, that's just wrong. I don't know. Did you see it the same way?
Extremely disappointing. Downright embarrassing.
For the refs.
Right.
Yeah.
I could have gone either way. I understand it. I mean, it was definitely a penalty.
Yes.
I think the way I like to look at it is if it was the other way around. If that was Celebrini that was on the mini breakaway and he gets hacked, would you want that as a penalty shot or would you want that as a penalty? The Sharks' sake, they're awful in the penalty shot, so I would want to take the power play. But I could go either way. Like, I wasn't as upset as you were about it. I was kind of like, oh, that sucks. I'd almost rather it be a penalty shot because I feel like Vanacek would have had a good chance at saving it. It was Vanacek, right, in this game? Not Georgiev. Maybe it was Georgiev. Man, it's been a long week. Sorry, everyone. I thought he would have a better chance at saving it, and obviously that was not the case. That was a decent shot.
For me, I think it's less about what I would want and just looking objectively at what was happening. And even if that's Celebrini getting hacked, yeah, it'd be great for Celebrini to get a chance to score on a penalty shot. But looking at that, I don't think that would be my initial reaction is let him take the shot. My initial reaction would be, great, we have a power play, right? So I don't know. I think looking at it objectively, that's the way I would still see it, regardless of if it's this team or that team or this player or that player. To me, it was just a bad call. Like the call, again, penalty, fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
But saying it's a penalty shot, I don't see that. Yeah. So anyway, that's how the game ended, and you could see Macklin it looked like he woke up from a nightmare.
Yeah,
he was on the bench, just shaking his head and breathing.
Yeah, he was out of breath. It was a long shift for him too, so he was really out of breath.
But it was
part
devastating.
Part of the reason he couldn't get back in time is because he was so out of breath and tired anyway from a long shift.
Yeah.
that he couldn't get his legs moving and he was out of position, and the guy just beat him.
Well, they struck back and forth a couple times. He'd go in defensive zone, then strike offensive zone, then coming back to the defensive zone again. So yeah, he's exhausted. But I mean, the camera was just on him for a good, 10, 15 seconds or so, and he was just shaking his head and breathing really hard, and the whole time, and I'm like, dude, get the camera off this poor guy. Yeah. Oh my God, I felt so bad for him.
Then he dropped an F-bomb and they moved the camera away. Like, yeah, that is the time.
Best way to get the camera off you is to start cussing at Anyway, so that was the Vancouver game. Then moving on to the Dallas game, which I said the Vancouver game actually hurt more than the Dallas game, and the Dallas game they lost by a whopping 8-2.
Like I said in the last show,
We just stunk.
This could end up of them wanting to be on vacation, right? And they're thinking about their tropical trips that are coming up.
Yeah.
And ready to just finish the game out. And that's kind of what happened.
And Dallas is thinking about points. Dallas is thinking about climbing a little bit higher, right?
And they started okay. The first period was fine. They just, once again, the MO of the Sharks this season, not a full 60 minutes. Sharks scored 2 goals in the first 2:46 of the game.
Did I say 8-2 was the final?
8.
My bad. It was 8-3. Yeah,
8-3.
I think I said 8-2. It was 8-3 was the final. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 goals, and then they scored one 16 seconds after the Sharks were up 2-0. So it was a lot of goals. It was a fun game. It was a very exciting 3-2 at the end of the first period.
Fun if you're Dallas.
Well, yeah. I mean, to start a game, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a good game to start because it's just a lot of goals back and forth. It's
if they stopped right after they started, I think we'd have been fine. Right?
I would have been satisfied. Right?
2 goals, end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Shang, if I knew that answer, then I wouldn't have. We would have started off better.
Super Producer Jason having a lot of fun tonight. Love it. Anyway, I don't know that there's really anything to say about this game. The Granlund and Cody Ceci got their tribute, which was nice. You know, I think that wasn't like before the game or anything. I think it was just at a commercial break
in between.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's a little when you do it before the game starts, it's a little more personal. I think you get a little bit of time, but I don't know if
Granlund was there for 2 seasons.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Not
exactly.
even 2 full seasons.
Yeah.
So
if it was like, well, for instance, when like Marlowe came back after Toronto, they had a whole thing
different.
before the
game.
game.
They retired his
right?
jersey. Think of like Pavelski, right? When he comes back,
right?
Or when he came back for the
right.
first time, or Burns when he came back for the first time. Guys that have been there for a long time, or even ones that were drafted in the organization are there for a long time. Nothing against Granlund. I love him, and he was great as a Shark, but his tenure just wasn't long enough to really get the full Monty, I guess, in the very beginning of a game. So in between the periods, it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cody Ceci, however, should have gotten red carpet rolled out for him. His whole family there, flown in, flowers, drop the puck, you know, that whole thing.
The whole deal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Have him take the draw?
Yes.
Yeah?
His only draw in his career.
Okay, so let's see. What else was there to say about this game? Unfortunately, there was not much good that happened here. Celebrini picks up another point. Fantastic. He was quoted afterwards in the postgame saying that he wasn't good enough, right? He's saying that more or less it's on me. And that's the type of ownership that you expect from your captain. Although he has no letter on his sweater right now. Again, we've speculated about when he's going to get that letter. Mm-hmm. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And this is the reason why right here. At 18 years old, he's putting this team on his back. He's putting this team on his shoulders, and he's saying, it's on me. You know, I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough. I can be better, and it starts with me, and it ends with me, and I'm going to be the one that leads this team in the future. As time goes on, it's going to be him. And to see him do this and take ownership of it is just reassuring of that fact.
Absolutely. This kid is going to be the future captain of the Sharks. One of the top. I wasn't expecting him to be this good. I mean, I'm excited and happy that he is, but my expectations were a little bit lower for an 18-year-old kid coming to the league. This guy is going to be, I think, a top 10 guy in the league at some point. You know, in the peak of his career, he's going to be up there in the NHL. Not just on the Sharks, not a franchise player, but like an all-star in the league. He's going to be around for a long time and at the top for a long time. So exciting to see him kind of start to take that role now that Granlund is gone. He was only traded a week ago, so now he's kind of stepping up and taking that role a little bit more. But yeah, I think not making him, you know, he's got enough on his plate being on the last place team in the NHL, being the first overall pick. There's a lot of pressure on you. Look at Bedard, right? Going back to last season and this season, he still gets a lot of pressure on him. Had he taken over as the captain now, Celebrini, he would be the youngest captain in NHL history. You think that's going to weigh on his shoulders a little bit? Why do that to him, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to kind of protect him a little bit, wait a couple years. Once Couture's contract is up, which is in 2 more seasons, I believe. So he's got 3 years left on his contract. Then we're going to see that next step for Celebrini to go. Maybe sooner. Maybe Couture announces a retirement, that he's just never going to be able to come back. Who knows? Again, speculating. We don't have any inside information. But Celebrini is definitely going to be next in line. I don't think they're going to give anyone else the captaincy in between Couture and him.
No, the most they're going to do is maybe switch up the alternates for next season.
Which they're already doing this season.
They're doing that this season, yeah. And even the home and away, they're doing different alternates as well. But I think the most that they're going to do for next season is they'll probably end up putting an A on his jersey. But yeah, I think let Logan Couture gracefully go away or go out. I want to say go away. That sounded rude. Let him gracefully, I don't know, expire. What's the word I'm looking for? That sounds bad too.
Join a role with Jumbo.
There you
Patty.
go. Yeah.
Maybe host a kid. Yeah. Host the next first overall pick that's coming in next season.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Why not? Right?
Because it's already assumed we're getting first overall.
There's a great question here for a good segue.
Okay.
CJ out in Rome. How do you feel about this year's team versus last year? I didn't realize we were dead last in the standings and in a similar position as last year. I feel like this team is better than last year. I agree. In fact, I had these stats.
CJ, you're doing my job right now, buddy.
Absolute next point. Last year in the standings, at 57 games, which is where the Sharks currently are, 57 games because of the break. I looked this up. Last year, this is last season, not this season. 15 wins, 35 losses, 7 OTLs, whatever you call those. 325 win percentage for 37 points. They had 11 regulation and 15 rows, regulation or overtime wins. This is the big difference here. 148 goals for, 216 against. Wait, I'm reading
That's for
year's
this.
stats.
That's for this year.
That's this year.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
So everything he just said, that's for this year.
That's this
Okay.
season. Okay,
So
last season, 15 wins, 39 losses, 2 difference, and 5 OTLs. So the difference this season between last season is 2 OTLs versus 2 regulation losses.
Yes.
So 2 more went to overtime for 2 more points. They had 35 points. They had 10 regulation wins, 14 rows. Their goal differential, this is big, 123 goals for, 208 against. They were at minus 85 at this point in the season. Oh my gosh, I'm reading the wrong line. That was Chicago's.
Oh, I cannot lie. It was,
They're like the
a lot
same.
last, month.
Let me do that again. It's even worse.
Okay, let me give it a go, okay? So, in both seasons, they only had 15 wins. Both seasons, they had, well, actually, 37 losses and 5 overtime losses in last season. This season, 35 losses and 7 overtime losses. That's why there's a 2-point difference. So, in essentially the exact same team, the biggest difference, Aaron, is the goal differential.
Yes, thank you,
So,
Paul.
go ahead.
Thank you. Biggest thing, goal differential. Last season, 120 goals for. This year, 148. So it's a 28 goal difference, right? Goals against, this is huge.
Yes.
222 last year. This year, 216. Slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall difference is minus 102 to minus 68. So yes, games are closer. There's less blowouts. Granted, the Dallas game was kind of a blowout,
Yeah.
and there's been a few this
But there's
season.
less.
There's less.
Yeah.
They're in more games than they're not.
And I think we can say, too, that this season, we're starting better, right?
Yes.
But we just can't hold the lead. I think last season, we didn't start too great, and we didn't keep it close as the game was going on. So at least we're kind of starting off okay and then faltering, right?
I feel like last season in the beginning of the year, the first month when they went through the 2 10-game plus losing streaks.
Yes.
I ran a stat of they had the lead the least out of like any team in the NHL by a mile.
Yeah.
Because they were always getting scored on first and always behind, so they never played with the lead practically.
You want to read that, Ben and Gunsby?
Aaron's miscue, just like the Sharks defense there. Yes, absolutely. I am not on top of my game today.
Speaking of your game, you did have a soccer game today. That's
did.
maybe a little exhausted from that.
I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
I had an indoor playoff soccer game, and we won 5-2.
Good.
But I missed 4 wide open chances, just like
Got
today.
beat off walls.
I'm a little tired. I'm a little all over the place. Blah, 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 blah,
I think
blah.
people need to remember that this is our fun time, is doing this stuff.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
We have 0 training, and it shows. Moving on from that, Aaron, unless there was anything else you wanted to say comparing the two.
Obviously not.
No. The Calder
I
Watch.
cannot lie. It was, a lot last,
got-
month. And
Homage, Babylon, the Calder Watch.
Calder Watch. Let's run it.
Ooh, okay.
Calder Watch 2025.
Again?
All right, we'll start off with the first place. We have, out of Montreal, defense boy, Lane Hudson. The very punchable face still. 3 goals, 38 assists for 41 points, a minus 20. He's at a .73 pace. Now, you ran that stat of how many secondary assists. A lot of them are secondary assists,
I
correct?
did not.
Oh, I
actually
thought you
run
did.
this. No.
He's getting a lot of points on the power play. He's got 17 power play points. He got one against the Sharks as a secondary assist on the power play. So we got to see what he looked like. What did you think of him in that game? Did you get to good look at him?
He's
when he played the
a
Sharks?
fantastic skater. This is one of the biggest thing I thought was he was just a fantastic skater. He's not like a Cale Makar type skater, but you can see it's almost like a Erik Karlsson-esque, I guess you could say. He's crafty, right? Good handling the puck. He doesn't mind getting in deep. to bring the play to the net or towards the net, right? Draw that winger down low that's supposed to be guarding him but can't, right? So he's got really nice skating ability, fantastic edge work, and he's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
He will have a bright future in the NHL.
Yes.
But he is pretty small for a defenseman.
he is.
So he's going to need to be paired with a very good and larger defensive defenseman that could hold his ground in the back. So, I mean, Montreal's it's great for them. I think he was a second-round pick, too, so it's not like he was a top, probably because of his size.
Yeah.
If he was bigger, he probably would have gone a lot higher. Anyway, who cares about him? We're a Shark Show. Number 2, Macklin, Celebrini, climbing the ranks and catching up to him. In his 45 games played, he's got 17 goals, 23 assists for 40 points. He's only 1 point behind Lane Hudson. Minus 20. He's at a .89 pace here, point per game. We all know what Mac can do. What I like about this, his time on ice, and I think it's going to go up with Granlund gone.
Yeah.
1942 right now, and 49.0 on the faceoff.
Yeah.
Those two stats
Yep.
are amazing. I know the Sharks are kind of not a good team, so he's going to be getting a lot of ice time, especially when more people are getting traded. But you can't say he didn't earn it. This is not
Absolutely
like Will Smith 2.0,
Absolutely.
right? Like this kid he's busting his butt, and I think after Granlund gone, I think he's the best. Well, I wouldn't say the best. I think Eklund's up there too for a defensive forward that also has offensive skill. But Macklin, I'm talking like for PK stuff. Like I trust Eklund more on the PK than Celebrini right now, but he will get there, and I think he's going to be a triple threat of even power play and shorthanded. So great to watch, obviously. Anything else you want to add to?
I just noticed that the minus 20 has stayed at minus 20. I feel like that's then that number. I actually checked what was on screen with what's on our stat thing down there to make sure that it was an updated slide, because that minus 20 has been there for, I feel like, the last 3 weeks or so. It's been that same number. So he's kind of stopped the hemorrhaging. It's a bad number, but he seems to have stopped some of the hemorrhaging at least, which is nice. Now, again, plus minus.
A lot of those are empty net goals. Right?
Sure, yeah.
Like how many? He's probably on the ice for every single empty net goal because he's going to be there on the ice trying to get that goal. So if you take away those, I bet that's going to be closer to even.
The stat I was tracking, by the way, was faceoffs, and again, Lane Hudson hasn't even taken a faceoff.
He shouldn't even be considered for Calder.
I'm just saying.
Just throw him out. You stay on the blue line.
You're done.
Get out of here. All right, in third place, like it really matters, we have out of Philadelphia.
Like it matters.
Matvei Michkov, 17 goals, 23 assists. Or I'm sorry, that's Macklin. 16 goals, 20 assists, 36 points, minus 15. I need to look at the screen instead of my computer because obviously my computer is just.
We can bring the smelling salts back.
I think we still have him somewhere in a box. He's got 2 goals in 2 games ago, but in the last 5 games he doesn't have much, so that's about it. So he's kind of slowing down a little bit, and I think this is becoming. Again, I will throw out Dustin Wolf because he's doing amazing things in Calgary and pulling that team into a playoff, making their GM make hard decisions now because they're no longer a selling team but a buying team. So they're going to go out there and get some more players. But I think those 3 are now the 3-headed monster. Dustin Wolf, Celebrini, and Lane Hudson.
And I agree with you. I think Dustin Wolf at this point might have just edged out Michkov just a bit. He's a rookie, but he has been, like you said, the past 5 games, he got 2 goals and they were in the same game, right? So there's not a lot of that consistency coming from him either. But what I do see is a lot of online of people saying, don't look at the points per game because Michkov has more. Now these are Philly fans saying this because he has more games played. It's the minutes, points per 60 minutes, and because he's taking less shifts and he has less time, right? So this is what I'm saying. Anything they can do to try to get him back into that conversation of he's better than Celebrini, he needs to be number 1 on this list. And I'm sorry if you're a Philly fan, but it's just not the case. It's just not the case. The man
Think
has
about when Michkov's not scoring, what's he doing?
being a liability.
Nothing, right? Celebrini's not scoring. What's he doing?
Stopping
Winning
goals.
faceoffs.
Exactly. Winning
Working-
faceoffs. Yes.
Working hard. He's got the other X factor in there, making other people better around him. So I think, obviously I'm biased, but I think he is far superior than Matvei Michkov.
And if you look at the number of shots as well, Michkov's got 115 shots. Macklin's got 150. Now, granted, he's playing over 3.5 minutes more per night.
But that's 10 games less.
In 10 games less, yeah. So when you look at it, Michkov that's his game. He's the goal scorer, right? And that's the big thing about him. Macklin's got more goals in less games, and he's shooting more often, right?
Yep.
In less games. So I think it's safe to say that Michkov isn't in that conversation unless he goes berserk at the end of the season. I just don't see him being that same caliber of player that Celebrini is to be in that conversation. I do think it's interesting, though, that the three that we're talking about being the three-headed monster now is a centerman, a defenseman, and a goaltender. That's really interesting that it's all three different positions, right? I mean, center, there's winger, yes, but just forward, I guess you could say, right? And I think it's better that he's a center because, again, taking faceoffs, and that's an important stat, right? Which, by the way, again, the other two have taken no faceoffs. So I just found it interesting, right, that there is one of each position. And so the way that you have to grade each one is a little bit different. If there was two forwards, especially if they're playing the same position like center, you might go, okay, well, everything's kind of the same there, and then it's a little more apples to apples. Now you've got, okay, we have to consider Lane Hutson plays defense. How's he doing on the defensive side of the game, even if the points maybe aren't there anymore, which they are still, but even if they weren't there, we have to judge his defensive play a little bit, give that a little bit more weight because he is a defenseman, right? So I found it interesting that the three-headed monster now is all three different positions. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. It's cool, and it's also hard to compare because it's not apples to apples, right? Because now I think Lane Hutson is going to get a little bit more of a nod because he's on the East Coast, and a lot of writers are on the East Coast, and more eyeballs on the East Coast than people watching a very bad Sharks team on the West Coast late at night. There was a stat, and I saw this, I think this was in my fantasy hockey group, about the Sharks versus Seattle game that I went to was on ESPN, and the ratings were atrocious. It got beat out by some college basketball or something something that shouldn't have been as big as NHL. But if you look at why, it's San Jose versus Seattle. Seattle has no star power in their lineup, right? Yeah. They're an okay team. I'm not saying they're bad, but they don't have that star X factor power. They don't have someone to market really. Yeah. The Sharks have Celebrini, but they're in last place. Who's going to stay up on the East Coast to watch a Seattle Sharks game when those teams are kind of at the bottom of the standings? There's not a lot of star power minus Celebrini.
Right.
So it obviously makes sense that those ratings are going to be bad. Had that game started early, like a 6 p.m. start on the West Coast, so it's 9 p.m. over there, maybe it would have done a little bit better. But you're putting them up at a 10:30 p.m. start on the East Coast. You're not going to get a lot of eyeballs. So Lane Hutson in Montreal is going to have a little bit of an advantage because of that. And the East Coast bias is real. Yeah. That is absolutely real. So we'll see when it comes down to it. I'm hoping Macklin just blows him out of the water by the end of the season points, where he's just 10 or 15 points ahead. Like there's a big gap, not within 2 or 3 points. Like he just takes the lead and goes with it.
Grandizer, we can put that one back on screen, is living in a fantasy world here. Hoping we can have a Celebrini, Will Smith, Calder race. That would be good for San Jose and hockey. Exciting. Yes, that would be fantastic. Unfortunately, Will Smith, is he still fifth in that ranking?
He's getting close to fourth, actually, which would be great to see for him.
Absolutely. It'd be nice to have him up there. But again, anybody beyond, we're already saying Michkov is kind of out of that conversation. So anybody below that's gone too.
He's sixth, but he's only 2 points behind Stankoven and Siplikov. So he's catching those guys. They're kind of stagnant.
Got it.
So okay. He went off in the last couple of weeks. Nice. I mean, he slowed down a little bit, but
does he have 23 points, you said?
Was it 23.
Okay.
Yeah, 8 goals, 15 assists. The other guys have 25 points.
Yeah, good. I kind of wanted to bring up something about Will, and I know everyone's going to groan for a second here, but this is actually good, so hold on. I had somebody on X, Mike, I think it was his handle, whatever. Anyway, Mike dislikes me very much because he doesn't like that I don't have a lot of good things to say about Will Smith. So he was linking me to other content creators who had said something good, saying, well, point your hate to this guy, Fin Factor or whatever. By the way, on X, it's me, so don't lump Aaron into that, right? If you're going to be upset with somebody, it's me. Leave Aaron alone, okay?
I'm more on,
You're on
Blue Sky.
Yeah.
I'm controlling Blue Sky. He's controlling. I'm going to still call it Twitter.
Yeah.
I refuse to call it X.
I want to call it Twitter, but in my head,
Just do it.
it's X. But okay. Anyway, on that platform, so I had this kind of a little bit of a back and forth with this guy. He had pointed to Professor Hockey, actually, the guy that I had talked about before, who is a great watch on YouTube right after a Sharks game. So he pointed to him saying, Will Smith actually did well in the corner against the 6'7" defenseman, whoever it was, the Dallas Star guy. I think is who it was. Some monster defenseman. So, unfortunately, I was watching certain things or taking my kids to doing certain things for hockey stuff. So, I didn't get a chance really to see what was going on at all moments of the game. So, I went backwards, figured out when he tweeted that, and then went to the time of the game to go see, right, what was happening. And I found it where Will Smith went into the corner with this big defender. Now, I will say this. I'm going to give the little poop sandwich, okay? I already said it's a good thing, so that's my first part of the bread. The bad thing is, what happened was Will goes into the corner with this big guy who's got his back turned, isn't looking at him, and he shoves him like here, and the guy loses his balance, doesn't fall over, but loses his balance. And I'm going, okay, didn't knock him over, but 19 years old, whatever, and the guy's huge. Tries to get after him a second time. This time the guy knows he's there and is looking at him. Will shoves and Will falls over. And
you pushed the wall and he fell
out. He pushed and fell. So then he goes to try to get the puck. Doesn't get the puck. The puck comes up and out of the zone. He loses the wall battle there and the puck gets out, right? So what he was pointing to, I looked at and went, no, that's not something I would point at and say, hey, he did great. However, this is the other part of the bread. Okay, I at least am happy to see the attempt, the effort of trying to push this gigantic human being, whereas normally he wouldn't be doing that. So I will say that. I will give credit where credit is due. Will actually did attempt to be physical, which it's progress. Sure, at this point, it's progress. I wish there was more progress earlier in the season, or I wish he got that confidence in a different league. We'll leave that alone. But hey, at least he did put his hands up on somebody and try to be physical and try to win a battle, as opposed to what I normally see, which is not the case. So there, I've said something good about Will Smith. You guys can all get off my back now, okay?
Get on with it.
Oh.
Get on with it.
Get on with it.
Get on with it.
Yes. Get on with it.
That's what you get for trying to be nice, you know?
I guess. Going back real quick, empty net goals. I found the stat. How many empty net goals?
Get on with it.
Boy, was that a delayed reaction.
How many empty net goals against the Sharks do you think they've had this year?
Empty net goals against the Sharks.
Against the Sharks.
I'm going to go 13.
Woohoo, 14.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're not number 1. They're not even number 2.
Wow.
They're number 9 in the league of most goals, empty net goals against. Think about the teams that are a little bit better than the Sharks that are closer in games and really go for it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so Avalanche with 19 lead the league right now. Predators makes sense because they've been awful this season, but they're a good team. They should be better than they are. Sabres, Panthers, Blackhawks, Islanders, Maple Leafs, Penguins, then the Sharks. So if you take those 14 goals, that's a minus 14. Take that to Celebrini. That goes from minus 20 to minus 6.
And I can't help but notice that you did not say Flyers. So the minus that Michkov has is not because of empty net goals.
There's a reason he gets benched a lot by Tortorella. Because he doesn't bring the other factors into the game as Celebrini does, right?
Yeah,
the effort, the defensive effort especially.
Absolutely.
And in Tortorella's system, if you're not doing that, you're riding the pine.
I do wonder how much Tortorella would love to have Celebrini, though.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. The offensive skill plus the defensive responsibility plus putting it on your shoulders. And
He'd probably
be me.
He would be broken by now because he's blocking so many shots from the point. So Celebrini would have broken shins at this point in the season.
Roll call. We doing roll call?
Let's do it.
All right, fire away.
All right, roll call. Tell us what city you are currently watching us from, and are you going to be watching the Four Nations Face-Off, which is coming up, I think, starting tomorrow. Tomorrow's the first game.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to pull up that schedule right now. Tomorrow is the very first game. It is Canada, Sweden at 5 p.m. You can watch this on TNT, True TV, or Max. I don't know why there's so many different ways to watch this, but that's what it is. And then Thursday. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. What is the Four Nations Cup? Do you?
It's the replacement for the All-Star game.
So instead of an All-Star game, the NHL decided, and the NHLPA decided along with them, let's do this. They've done it a few times before. I think 2016 was the last one they did it. It's kind of cool because you're going to get more players involved because it's 4 teams worth versus, what is it? They used to do 3-on-3 tournament is what the All-Star game is. So you have less players on those division teams, all division teams. Yeah. So you get more players involved. You're getting your country involved. You're also mixing players that don't normally play with each other because they're in different conferences, different divisions, whatever. So they wouldn't really necessarily be on the same teams. And they get to play with their countrymen, which is cool because I'm sure they're very excited about it. I think it's a cool thing. I don't mind it every now and then. I wouldn't like it to replace the All-Star game every year. I think doing every 4 years would be pretty cool. I saw this interesting stat. They pick the teams based on the top 6 teams ranked currently in the world by the International Ice Hockey Federation. So Canada's ranked number 1, followed by Finland, then Russia, United States, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, Czech, Slovakia, Latvia.
Okay.
They didn't do Russia because they're sanctioned right now because they do bad things. Then they didn't do the Czech Republic, which was sad.
Yeah.
Because they did have enough players. Germany wasn't in there because there's not enough German NHL players. It's NHL players only.
Yeah.
So there weren't enough Germans in the NHL to fill a team, so they couldn't be in it, even though they are ranked number 5 right behind the U.S. So Sweden is right behind Germany. The Czech Republic would have been cool, but that would have been 5 teams. That would have been kind of weird to do the format instead of 4, because everyone's going to play each other once. The top 2 play each other for the finals. That's the structure of the tournament.
So the only thing I don't like about it being 4 nations is there are so many good Russian players. Now, I'm not asking for Russia to be a team. And not even like the fake Russia, like when they do the Olympics, right?
The Olympic team.
Olympic committee team or whatever. Come on, it's Russia.
Yeah.
So, not even that, but I would love it to be 4 nations versus the world, maybe, and then just everybody else, the Germans that are in the league, the Russians that are in the league, the Czech players that are in the league, right? If there's any Latvians, right? French, anybody else, right? Just lump them together. Kind of, if you remember, where they had Team North America, and it was like Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, all these really young players at the time that were just stand out fantastic. I wish it was something more akin to that, where it was kind of like, well, you've got your country teams, but we kind of just have a bunch of other good players. Just throw them together, right? So I would love to see something like that, and unfortunately, that's not the case here. And yes, having 5 teams might be kind of weird, but it could get kind of fun with like a play-in if you're doing like a tournament of 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3, right? Because then you got 4 plays 5 for that kind of wild card play-in. That could be fun. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong,
cool if it was the Misfits
team, right? Exactly. Yeah. The leftovers or whatever, right? So I think that could have been a lot of fun. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think because it's their country, they're going to play harder than if it was just an all-star game.
Well, yes, absolutely. Right? But now you're missing players. Draisaitl's not playing. That's a crime.
Yes.
Ovechkin's not playing. Yes. That's a crime.
Kucherov.
Even in the season, Kucherov is not playing.
Vasilevsky. I mean, there's really so many good players.
That aren't going to be playing in this. Then you go to the teams that don't have any players. There's 2 teams. San Jose Sharks, because Granlund got traded. Granlund got traded to Dallas, and he's playing for Finland. And because there's so many Russians on the team, Washington Capitals don't have anybody. So there's 2 teams in the NHL out of the 32 that don't have any representation at all in this game. So that's why I was asking, are any of you going to be watching? I think it'd be cool. I think I'll probably put them on for a couple of the games. What?
Paul's got to coach Team USA. Guys, I'm just a talking head in a chair. I
want to coach that Misfits team. So I'm like, go out there and give them hell.
Oh, I can't lie, it was, a lot last, month, and...
You got nothing to lose. Nobody wanted you.
Check, right there. Tomas Hertl.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there's some really good players that aren't from those 4 nations.
So CJ said, did you guys see the new standings for the tournament? It's what you guys have been preaching forever. 3 points for a regulation win, 2 for an overtime or shootout win, 1 for a shootout loss, and nothing for regulation loss. Also, the overtime period is not... It's almost like NHL, but it's instead of 5 minutes, it's 10 minutes of 3-on-3, sudden death. Then it goes to a shootout.
Okay.
But for the finals, if it goes, it's a full 25-on-5, like a normal playoff overtime.
Yeah.
So they just keep going.
Now, are those rules any sort of international rule? Like for like IIHF, do they do 3 points in that? Or no?
I don't know.
We don't know. So people in the chat, if you could put that in there, let us know. Because I am curious why they would decide to do that. I'm not against it at all, of course. But you said that we've been preaching that. Actually, Aaron's been preaching that. If you're a fan of the show, you know that I've been preaching the 5-point system, which makes even more sense.
But we're not make sense.
It makes way more sense.
0 sense.
If we think that an overtime win is more important than a shootout win, then it makes sense.
I don't like the shootout. Get rid of it.
That's different. They have the shootout. I made a system that works. Anyway.
I don't want to hear about freaking fragile, okay?
This guy and his buttons. I love it. So anyway, yeah.
Beat off walls.
Are you going to be watching the tournament?
I'll be watching this. I think it'll be fun. I think it's different. I always like, for the All-Star game, I like that they made it 3-on-3, and then and they're playing for money, so they're kind of motivated to play, because otherwise it's just like the NBA All-Star game or the Pro Bowl where they just don't even want to get hurt, right?
But are the best players in the game who are probably getting paid a fair amount really going to care if they win that purse?
Oh, the young guys who don't get paid that much are going to be working hard. But I think, for me, I like the skills competition. I think that's cool. I think it's fun. It's going to be lacking this year because it's not there. I like that more than the actual game.
Me too.
Because it's like these are silly kind of games that you play, but you don't get to see NHL players or guys that are really good at this. Yeah. You're like, oh my God, you guys are top level in the world of your skill. You don't really get to see that in the game much because the game is, it's playing so fast. They don't have that much time and all that. But seeing these guys and their skills and doing silly stuff, it's almost like, Monday morning quarterback. You're like, I could have done that. And then you watch them and you go, I can't do that. I can't even be close. Or you see some guys get absolutely humbled in something, right? Or they're just not very good at it, even though they're a great hockey player. So I like that part. And like all sports, I like the 3-point shooting contest. I don't really like the dunk contest. Then the football one in the NFL when they're throwing the football like through tires and doing all that old stuff. Like, I think that's cool because it's very different and something that you could set up at home and do, right?
Yeah.
Like a silly game and see how you compare. In fact, in our show, when we went to
Kathy's power skating,
we did the shooting thing, and it was the targets, right? And we had to hit all the targets, and I took, 2 minutes,
75 shots.
Oh.
You shot every puck twice.
I ran out of pucks, and yeah, it was pretty bad. You should go back and watch that episode. It's embarrassing.
Pretty good. I did okay. You did great.
I mean, just absolutely freaking embarrassing.
Yeah, I thought I did all right. I did a good time hitting all the targets. I thought my shot was all right. I think, what did I hit, 70 miles an hour? For a guy that's 5'7" with a low kick stick, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
it's all right.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that treadmill though.
The treadmill.
Oh,
the treadmill was
so
tough.
scary. So scary.
But the funny thing is, when you fall, you don't hit the thing. You just kind of hover.
But it's weird.
It's like you're Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible. Just
I feel like I was like a baby giraffe. My legs were just going. It's awful. I didn't fall. And they didn't sharpen my skates to make me fall. You remember that?
You didn't sharpen your skates?
They told me they sharpened them, and they didn't to make me fall.
Your skates were dull?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't remember that part.
Go back and look at the episode.
I recorded them sharpening them.
I guarantee you in the beginning, they were laughing at the end because they're like, we'll actually sharpen your blades now because we didn't do it the first time we pretended to.
I didn't catch that.
I had brand new blades that were just flat.
I'm going to go back and watch that now again. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. There you go. Okay, so anything else to say about the 4 nations? Again, I would have liked to see 4 nations versus the world and have 5 total teams. You could have done, again, the wild card to get into the semifinal. 1 plays 4 or 5, and then 2 plays 3, and then you go from there for the final. That, I think, would have been a little bit better, a little bit more inclusive of all the different people who play in the NHL who are not of those 4 nations.
You know what is cool? Outside of the 4 nations, next year is the Olympics. And the NHL and the NHLPA agreed they can go. So the NHL
Nice.
players are going to be in the Olympics, both 2026 and 2030. So we will be able to watch NHL players, which I love because that really is. This isn't like an all-star game. Like, they're playing for the country. They're going for gold. So and it's very, like, it's every 4 years. So it's not, like, getting named to the team is not a guarantee every year. So I bet next year, maybe we see Celebrini on that Canadian team.
I
Possibly.
would not at all be shocked.
Right?
Not at all be shocked. No.
Maybe we see Eklund make the Swedish team, which he should have for the Four Nations.
So real quick, I saw a reel, a short on YouTube. It's Coach Chippy, I think is his name. Who's kids love this guy. He was saying, if you're the coach of Team Canada, you're going, you've got Crosby on the third line. Like, he's your third line center. So who's gonna tell McDavid that he's the second line center? Because it's McKinnon, right?
Yeah.
So can you imagine McKinnon, Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid, Crosby, and then Celebrini? Those are your four centers. Dude, that's nasty. That's so nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
their problem is
Canada.
goaltending.
Okay, fair enough.
They named their starter. I don't know if you saw.
No.
Binnington.
Ugh.
St. Louis. Yeah, exactly. Their goaltending is the one that's like, they don't have that number one. Who the U.S. have? Hellbuck.
Oh, yeah,
Hellbuck,
yeah.
The best goaltender in the NHL right now. So they look good on defense or in goal.
On paper, at least.
On paper,
goal, yeah.
right. The Canadians, not so much.
Well, in any case, moving on from the Four Nations, unless there's anything else. Somebody said that there's a 12-point system. We need to figure it out. No. Anything else to say about the Four Nations? Or are we good?
No, I think we're good. I'm excited to watch it. It'll be fun. Good hockey.
I am also excited to have a look at that one. Okay, so there's no games coming up because of the Four Nations. So let's see. What else do we have? We have a surprise.
We do.
How do you want to unveil?
I think we have two surprises.
We do have two surprises.
Really?
One of them is tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
I've been told.
Okay.
Is that we were told it was tomorrow?
I thought it wasn't.
We
for
had
sure.
somebody talked to us, and I believe that it is scheduled next week.
No, he said this week, but I thought he said in a couple days.
Okay. Somebody talked to us.
He's so cryptic right now.
I know. And that somebody is going to put this out there, and we will be featured. And we're not going to say any more than that. But that is something to look out for. It's going to be something with us that's not from us. Pretty cool. The other thing is, I don't know, how do you want to tiptoe around this one now?
We'll have a shorter episode that's already pre-recorded for next week.
I like that.
And it'll be released Sunday? Are we doing Sunday? I don't know. We'll figure
Extremely
it out.
disappointing. Downright embarrassing.
Yes.
Sunday. We don't know.
Sunday.
But you know how you can know. Segue. You like that? Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. That way you guys know when we have these things coming out. Especially when it's a recorded show. Actually, especially when it's a live, because that's, more time sensitive. But when we have the video coming out, you guys will know about that because you will have hit the subscribe button. Congratulations to you. Aaron, is there anything else
To beat off walls.
Save the Seawolves. If you
There
can
you
go
go.
down in, I think it's still in the description down below. You can sign this. In fact, that screenshot is old because I believe it's already it's double that, over 10,000 signatures. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. I'd appreciate it. Brody Brazil had Marcus Zemer, my old coach from Sonoma State, on his show 3 days ago. So you can go check that out. He talks about what is going on in Sonoma State and why it's kind of bush league that they're getting rid of it. So that would be fantastic. If you could do anything, that would be a start, and I would appreciate it.
I do want to thank everybody who's in the chat, by the way. When we first started the show, like just before we started the show, there was like 2 people here. And then one of them was him. So as soon as we started, like, you guys kind of piled in, but we've got quite a few more now. So I do appreciate you guys jumping in there. I appreciate you guys pushing us out to your Sharks friends and family, getting more people in here, of course. We love hearing from you, but the more people that we have in here, the more fun it is for us and for everybody else, and the more kind of interactions there are on the show, and that's what makes it fun. So that's what it's all about. Again, thank you guys for that. Aaron, you've got a comment you want to point out.
Yeah, just CJ out in Rome, picking us up in the morning, and he's off to go start his day, so have fun in Rome. Win in Rome, my friend.
Very good. Yes, thank you so much for tuning in from halfway around the world, CJ. Appreciate that, bud. Okay, Aaron, unless you've got anything else.
Nope.
No. Okay, guys, once again, thank you for being in the chat. And certainly, if you are not subscribed, please do that. The video that comes out, it's going to be some fun. And be sure to look for the other content creator who you will definitely see. And we're featured in that one there, too. So,
Guys, get on with it.
So fun stuff. Anyway, I guess Super just doesn't want me to promote, so I will stop promoting, and instead I will just say, for Super Producer Jason, I'm Paul.
And I'm Aaron.
And we will see you guys.
Not next week.
That's what I have to deal with right here.
Not alive.
It's not even my brother, and I have to deal with this.
See the live in 2 weeks.
Bye-bye. Bye. Oh, there you go. It was fun.
Goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, check out our other content, especially interviews. You can interact with us directly through social media at The Fin Factor and on Instagram at Fin Factor. And don't forget to join our live streams on YouTube.
Visit our website at thefinfactor.com, where you'll find all of our episodes as videos or podcasts. You'll also find our exclusive merchandise to help support our show.